Check one, two, check one, two. Welcome to Innovation Somalia. I am your host, Abdul Ali. I'm coming to you from Columbus, Ohio. I'm really excited. I'm here today with Rahim Ahmed.
Hello, guys.
Welcome to the program. Rahim and I met about a couple of years back.
Yeah, like 2 years.
Yeah, like about 2 years, 2.5 years or so. And we share common interest of how the community is doing, especially how the youngsters like you are doing, and what opportunities they have and things like that. So you grew up here in Columbus?
Yes, I was born and raised here in Columbus.
Oh, you was born and raised here?
Yeah, I've been here my entire 22 years of life.
You've never been to Africa?
No, I've been to Africa. I went 2017. I have family in Nairobi.
Okay.
I lived in like a little suburb area called 𝐿.
Okay.
And I was there for I think 2.5 months.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I went to Africa. It was a nice experience.
What do you like about it?
The food is really amazing in Africa. I'm not gonna lie. The food here, I feel like is full of chemicals and stuff, but over there it's just pure, fresh, genuine food. That's my favorite part.
That's your favorite part. That's cool, man. Have you ever thought about moving over there? Or not yet?
I can't move to Nairobi. I don't see myself living there. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna give Somalia a chance when I go visit, inshallah.
Okay. What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about visiting Somalia probably next year.
Oh, okay.
Maybe next year, hopefully. I got my uncle lives out there. I might go see him.
Okay. What part in Somalia?
I think he lives in Kismayo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a cool place.
Yeah,
that's nice. How long you plan on being there?
I don't know, man. I'm like a month or two type of guy. I don't do well with the heat.
You might say take me back, man, because of the heat. Yeah, it gets hot out there. It gets really hot out there. Columbus. It's an exciting place to live.
Yeah.
Tell me about you growing up.
So I'm the oldest in my family. There's only two of us, just me and my brother. I'm the oldest. My family, my mom and dad, I think were in Atlanta. Okay. And they just moved out here right when I think 6 months, when my mom was 6 months pregnant with me. Okay. So they told me when they were moving out here, there's not that many Somalis at the time. But growing up here, I lived in the north side, and I went to Somali schools like Cassidy and all that, and Zenith.
Okay.
When I was going to elementary, but
Zenith
then
Academy?
when I hit 4th grade, my parents wanted me to get a better education, so we moved to Gehenna, and I think I was the only Somali for a very long time. I'm gonna be honest. Until maybe high school, I didn't see another Somali person. But I was going to 𝐑𝐄𝐋 and stuff, so I still see Somali people on the weekends. But
none of your neighborhood.
In my age, it was just I was not seeing people that looked like me for a
long time.
For a very long time. And then I went there for high school, and I guess I got a better education. I'm not sure. I feel like education is the same everywhere you go, but it was a nice experience.
It was a nice experience.
I feel like I had the best of both worlds.
Got you. What about high school?
High school was nice. As I said, I was predominantly one of the only Somalis. I started seeing more Somalis my junior year. Mm-hmm. But for high school, I seen more Adans. That's what I seen that was predominantly going to the school. And they really didn't know what Somalis were, so I was considered an Indian.
Do you have to explain where in the map in Somali?
For some people, I had to tell them, but when I was in high school, there's more and more Somalis in the community, so people started to be more aware.
Gotcha. So in high school, when do you thought about college was the next step for you?
College for me was always the next step, because growing up, your parents.
At what age do you realize that?
I always had college on my mind, because growing up, your parents were hey, you're gonna go to college.
Even when you were 2 years old?
Not 2.
What year does it come into play?
I feel maybe when I was 8 or 10. Okay. I was yo, college is something I'm gonna do.
What checked in that?
What checked in that is my parents, of course. Okay. They said hey, go to college. You're gonna live an amazing life. They made it basically fantasy world. You finish college, everything in this world is in your hands.
In your hands.
So I was still focused on that college mentality. When I got into college, maybe my second year is when I stopped. I was yo, college really isn't the thing I thought it was gonna be, because I was we're learning a bunch of things that I know are not gonna be useful. And then the whole concept
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, because in the end of the day, college is a business first.
Okay.
So that's why I feel they make us, because I have a friend, he goes to school overseas to be a doctor.
Okay.
And over there, they don't do that whole, like, 2-year general education like they do here in America. It's just straight, you're going to your program, which is nice, I feel like, because the first 2 years, especially me going to college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I remember my first semester, I told my abo, I was like, hey, I don't know what I want to do. He just said, attend, you figure it out. Take some basic classes, you figure it out. I said, all right, I'm going to take some basic classes. I think I switched my major like 2-3 times until I was like, let me just do computer science.
Okay.
Like, computers are the future. They're for here. They're always here.
They're always going to be here.
So I'm not going to struggle finding a job in the future. And I'll have at least a nice, decent income. That was my mindset.
Okay.
But now that I'm in a computer field, and I'm like, I can't be sitting in front of a computer my whole life.
Finding your passion requires time.
Yeah. I've always admired the people that found their passion, especially at a young age. I'm like, how do you wake up and say, this is what I want to do the rest of my life?
Right.
I'm like, that's such a hard concept for me to wrap my mind around.
Right.
Because I'm like, I'm not the same person I was a month ago, or let alone a week ago. Our minds always change. So I'm like,
absolutely.
How do you know what you want to do the rest of your life? I'm like, that's hard for me to figure out. I know certain things I want to obtain in my life, but what I want to do,
like what?
Like financial, what is called, stability.
Okay.
That's something I want to obtain, right?
Okay.
I don't know how I'm going to obtain it, but that's something I want to obtain.
Education is one of it.
Yeah, education, and then the dean, of course. I focus more on the dean. So those are things I want to obtain.
Okay.
So I know that, but the path of getting there is just confusing.
But let's explore a little bit about a passion. What do you enjoy doing the most?
I feel like lately, I've been really on that find my passion thing. I started like last year, I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
So I've caught myself, because I told you how like my parents, they both own businesses. Seeing that, that's the only thing like really kind of inspires me. Like gets me out of bed a little bit. And, like, hey, why am I gonna work hard for someone else when I can work hard towards my own like thing? Like this is mine. So when I think about that, like that does motivate me, give me that extra juice, that way to like work a little extra more hours. So for me, the thing I've been looking into more and more has been, I'm gonna be honest, real estate. Because I'm like, hey, owning like houses and stuff is very nice. And my father, he bought a house for us. I remember, like, what was it, 2014?
Okay.
And he always tells me, like, hey, no matter what happens to me and, like, Hoya, this house is for y'all. Like, this is gonna help you guys out financially if anything ever happens to us.
Right.
So knowing that, I'm like, like house values are really not important. I didn't know at that age. I was still like a freshman in high school, I think. Like, I didn't know about houses and all that. And now the more I know, like I know some people that are real estate agents. I've been looking into that. And then I'm like, hey, the housing market is nice. You own a house, maybe one day an apartment complex, rent it out, just get free money. I'm like, that sounds very nice. Not free money, but
there's no free money.
It takes a lot of work, I understand, but I'm like, that's work that's gonna be rewarding, because I'm like, that's something I did for myself compared to like, hey, I work for someone in the corporate ladder, and then I work all the way to the tippy top, and then one day
there's some people that are
bankruptcy, I get fired or something, and I'm like, wow, like my whole life just went to disappear just like that. No,
I mean, and passion doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
When you find something that doesn't feel like work, then that's your passion. A lot, I always tell people that listen, that little small voice at the back of your head, it's always there. It's always saying that, hey, this is something, this is something, this is something.
Yeah, that's true.
But a lot of people don't explore it because they kind of...
it's the whole fear factor.
You got it. Like not knowing what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And not knowing the unknown.
Yeah.
So they trap themselves in their mind, college, even though the college is the best thing for a lot of youngsters like you, because you obtain that knowledge is going to come in handy down the road. But sometimes that a lot of people just go through the process not knowing, how to come out on the other end. Sometimes kind of sort of people just stop and go do something else, right?
Yeah.
So finding your passion is when you find something that really doesn't feel like work. So how do you find that? So just keep trying things and you might end up finding it.
That's what I've been on
now
lately.
you mentioned something about a college was not what you thought about when you actually went to college. And is going to college is part of your passion, or that is something else?
Part of my passion is learn. I love to learn.
Okay.
Right? But I feel like the way school teaches us to learn is not the right way, especially for me.
Okay.
Because I learn through people's experiences, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I'm one of those people that I would talk to a random person on the bus about, hey, like, what's up, like how's your life, this and that, right? Not know nothing about them.
Yeah.
Like when I went to Mexico last week, we took the bus everywhere.
Okay.
Taxis. I used to just ask people, like, just get to know them, like, hey, how you doing? Like, oh, how'd you learn English? All this stuff, right? Just to see, like, what their life is.
Right.
Right? And how they got to where they are. Because everyone starts the same, but the way our life is, like, everyone has so many different paths, so many different outcomes. And I find that really interesting. And I learned through that experience. When I hear about their life experience, I'm like, maybe this is something I don't want to do. Okay. Then I talk to the next person. I see a new perspective. I love learning in that way, being hands-on and being, like, right there compared to learning through a book.
Maybe that's your passion.
What?
Maybe
talking to people?
Yeah, talking to people in different things.
I love talking to people. I find it easy to talk to people. I've never been one of those people that struggle to, like, voice my opinion or, like, open up. Because I'm like, hey, you want to say something, just say it. But there's some people that are not like that. Like, they really, like, open up and talk about. But I never really found that a struggle for myself.
And that kind of sort of served you in a way that, I mean, that's why we're here now.
Communication is key.
Communication is the key. When we first met, then we exchanged a few things.
And I remember I was talking to you, getting to know you, like, hey, how'd you get this? See, that's the type of person I am.
So, and that led you up to here. So now we're having a conversation talking about your path and the path you want to take. So what are the challenges as a youngster trying to figure out, not only the path you're going to take, but what do you want it to become?
So the challenges, I feel like the whole time aspect. Nowadays, like people my age and younger, especially with social media, you see, oh, this person 18 millionaire, this person 19 millionaire. You just see younger people get more and more like successful in life, which is great for them, mashallah. So we feel more pressured on some, hey, we got to get our life together as quick as possible. And then most people, I feel like, not getting the whole learning aspect, because someone's life will take off more than like your life. Yours might take a couple years, right? But eventually everyone gets to where they need to be, right? So I feel like that's the pressure, especially like with social media. You see that nowadays more and more and more. And it's like it's a competition without people saying it's a competition. That's what I see a lot. So I feel like that pressure itself sometimes is a challenge. And especially for me being the oldest, I mean, I think I felt this pressure more in life, like later on, but it's like, I gotta be like a role model example for my brother, right? I'm the eldest son. I gotta show, I'm my parents' like art. I'm their artwork. All the years of them, struggling and all that, right? I'm their perfection, right? So I try to,
So you feel pressure on that end?
I used to like heavy when I was like I'm gonna say like high school-ish. I used to feel that pressure, but now I really don't. And my parents are more different than like typical Somali parents. They came here when they were 16, so they had the whole like coming here young to America, had that experience, right? They came here by themselves. And then so when I talk to them, I talk to them more as like, especially my father, I talk to him like as a best friend. He's easy to open up to. Most people I know can't open up to their fathers or their mothers, right? My parents give me an open dialect for me to like express myself and be like, hey, this I don't like it, or this I want to do. Especially even with the whole college aspect I told you. I went to my father, I was like, hey, I know you own a business. I said, what's the point of me getting a degree if potentially you will forever make more than me, right? I said, isn't the job for me to make more than you? And then he said to me,
what did he say? I'm curious to know.
And then what he said to me was on some, like, the way the world works is don't ever put your eggs in like one basket. So like for him, he didn't have as many opportunities as I did. So for me, I got the chance to at least breathe and figure out what I want to do. For him, it was more on the whole concept of, oh, I got to take care of my family. I got a mouth to feed. So I don't have that pressure. So he said, hey, branch out, do a bunch of things, have a degree in your back pocket, right? Do your business, do whatever you want to do, but just don't put all your eggs in one basket just in case, say, a business fails or the degree you got fails, right? You didn't put everything in just one basket. So that's what he told me. And when he said it to me, it made sense. I said, it makes 100% sense. And then when you talk to your parents, especially when I was like, I'm going to say a little bit younger, I might have been stubborn. You can understand what they're saying. And they're like, hey, watch out for this. Watch out for those friends, or don't do that. But you don't understand it till you truly go through it. So knowing that, I was like, my parents, I know they got the best intentions for me. and they've been through what I've been through. So I'm like, let me just listen and act upon it sometimes too. And it saves me a lot of time. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's good, man. Just the fact that your parents give you that open.
Yeah, that open dialogue is one of the best things. When I talk to other my other Somali friends and they don't have that, they don't really tell their parents anything, and I'm like, your parents are on your team. They're your number one supporters compared to anyone else you meet in life. So I'm like, why would you not open up to them and talk to them, right? I know it's hard. Like, no one wants to open up about anything, right?
But it does a lot of good for you.
But it does a lot of good and gives you a lot of clarity. Because I like talking to people that are older than me all the time because they've been through things I haven't been through. So knowing that I'm going to, I feel like I'm a little bit ahead. I'm like, hey, this person told me watch out for this. I should just pay attention closer.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, if somebody was out there listening that who's not opening up to their parents, what advice would you give them?
For me, I know it's hard, and I know some Somali parents don't really open up. They're not open up themselves.
Right.
But it's good to just honestly sit down and talk to your parents, because especially in our community, there's a lot of people that have addictions and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's a very big deal, and mental health is a very big deal, and people do not pay attention to that mental health, right? And then I know a lot of people my age, especially, they don't like staying home. They don't like being home because they're like, oh, it's bull, it's chaos, all this stuff, right?
Right.
Just, it's good to open up because there's two sides to both stories. Your parents will never truly understand you unless you speak.
Right.
And you can never truly understand your parents unless they speak as well.
Right.
So someone has to take the first step. And for me, it was my parents because, they're always open to me. So I was like, since they're open to me, I feel comfortable enough to be open to them.
And you're lucky enough to have those parents that who give you that platform. Alhamdulillah. And for those that who are really struggling, that are out there, that don't feel like the right parents for you, and they don't feel like you're not being heard of it, just know that this is temporary.
Yeah, it's temporary.
It will pass.
Because I see them consult a lot with their friends, and that's good. You consult with your friends and all that, but your friends have the same experience as you, because you really are the 5 people you hang around with.
Absolutely.
So you can't open up to someone that's kind of mimicking you. Absolutely. You gotta see a different perspective once in a while.
Yeah, and that is the best advice you can give to anybody that who's young, that who's going through these difficult times.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't feel like talking to, find somebody that who will pay a little bit of attention, and hopefully you will get all the news. You touched on something that's very interesting. I mean, you have this vision that. And talking to different people give you feedback that kind of sort of helps you, and I'm glad you see that on a really young age, and that will do a lot of good for you in the coming, and hopefully anybody, I keep saying this, but it's really important that anybody that is listening out there, that you feel like the doors are being closed, just make sure that this is and just make sure you understand that this is temporary, and hopefully find somebody that you can comfortably talk to, and let some of those difficulties off your chest. And the other thing that I wanted to highlight on, you said that you felt the pressure on when you were high school, feeling like you feel like you're the art of your parents and stuff like that, right? It's good, but so at one point did you feel that pressure kind of sort of eased out a little bit?
I think it started easing because right around towards the end of my high school is when I started doing that whole communication thing with my parents. Before high school, I'm be honest, I wasn't high school and down, I wasn't really open up to my parents. I'm like, what is there to open up about?
Right.
But then as I got older and I'm mentally more matured and I'm going to the adult world, I need adult experiences and adult perspectives. So I started opening up to them, telling them things I'm worried about, things I'm looking forward to in the future and all that. And then that started easing, and I'm like, oh, this pressure I've been feeling is just all in my head. Right? Because at the end, my parents, they just want the best for me. So that pressure is just all something in my head. I'm like, oh, I gotta be perfect. Oh, I gotta do this. But it's just when I started opening up, it eased.
It kind of sort of eased. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that there's a quote that goes like this: that comparison is the thiefness of happiness. So you don't want to compare yourself with somebody else, because everybody has a path, right? So toward, at the end of the day, everybody's gonna go to where they're meant to be. So you just have, comparing to somebody else is
That's
just
a good quote.
Yeah, it's really it will only get you down, or it will only kind of sort of put you in a different mood, and maybe kind of prevent what you're destined to get and all that.
But I feel like as we're like, especially my age, the younger age, we're just trying to like figure out what we want to do in life. People do nothing but compare, because you're trying to figure out what you want to be. You really don't have your true identity, and you're just gonna compare yourself to others. Like, hey, this person's kind of like me. What about I can do this? Or this person's kind of like me. What about I can do this? Next thing you know, you start doing that comparison thing just naturally, and you don't realize
and you don't realize that that's gonna take
that's
you.
That's a very good quote.
Yeah. I'm glad you see the outcome of that. You touched on something on mental health.
Yeah. I feel like first that mental health topic is something I've been, I think, really like thinking about more. I think last year.
Okay.
Before that, I wasn't really aware. I'm just like, just like everyone else said, Bismillah, you straight. You just keep pushing. Life keeps moving. But then I started figuring that out. Like something I did interesting this year, it's gonna tie with it, is like I think I started in January. I started asking people, are they genuinely happy? Like like say right now you do something like me, I like playing basketball. If I had like the last shot to win, right, I'm gonna be genuinely happy at that moment, right? But am I genuinely happy inside? Like say that moment ends, am I still genuinely happy? Like that whole feeling of like my soul is at peace. Like I'm smiling with my soul. So I started asking like a good few people at work, some of my friends, and no one has said yes to me yet. Everyone's saying they're not genuinely happy. They're just content with life. And I'm saying, so are we just gonna all like walk around just not happy, like depressed? We're not depressed, but just content with life. I'm like, this is awful, right? And then that's when I started thinking about people's like mental health, right? Because I'm like, my friends and these coworkers that I see, they seem like they have the biggest smiles, but behind that smile is a lot of pain that I didn't realize until I genuinely asked them that question, like, hey, I just randomly asked them, like, hey, are you genuinely happy with life?
Yeah.
And they all said, no, I'm content, I'm okay. And I'm like, so what do you have to obtain, or what do you have to get for you to finally be genuinely happy with your life? And some people be like, oh, financial stability, this and that, like this brand new car, right? But I said, like, say you do obtain that, and then what's next? You're going to be stuck, right? And you just got to keep moving forward, and you're going to just change your happiness to something else. Like, oh, I got the car now, all right, I'm going to be happy if I get the house. So your happiness just keeps changing. And then when I went to Africa, when I seen like homeless people, like homeless kids, homeless people of all ages, right? I seen them with the biggest smiles. They seem so much happier than like, the millionaires in America that I hear on the news, they commit suicide. And I'm like, you've obtained everything in this world, right? Like, why are you unhappy? But why is this person that literally has not a home or a dollar to their name more happier than you? So when I see stuff like that, I'm like, people's mental health really does play a big part on how they see life. So that's when I started taking like mental health seriously. Yeah, it's good to check up on your friends and family, guys.
Yeah. And COVID-19 added to it, really, there's a lot more people that used to rely on just getting out of the house, doing things. Now you couldn't get out of the house for so many months, and that.
And I feel bad for the people that have like a toxic household, and now they're stuck there. That's awful.
Yeah, that's just challenging, and I wish for the best. So now, college is about to end for you now.
Yeah, hopefully, inshallah, no more bumps in the road. I graduate next year.
Okay. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. So what are you gonna do when you graduate?
That's the big question. What am I gonna do? First, when I graduate, I'm gonna need a little like 2-3 month break.
Is the degree for you or for your parents? Let me ask you that now. If you're gonna take some time off, that means that. Go ahead.
Okay, so for me, I see the degree, because this is like, when you walked on, when you graduated, like say high school or college, right? When you walk on stage, that experience is what, maybe 30 seconds?
Okay.
15 seconds. So quick, right? It just flashes by. Like when I think about it, I still don't truly remember it, right?
Okay.
But what I do remember are the smiles on my parents' faces and the happiness, right? That's what I remember. Like those are moments for them. They're gonna remember the rest of their life, right? Me, I was okay if they just like mailed me the paper, like the diploma,
be done with it,
and be done with it. I'm like waiting like 3 hours if someone talks, right? I'm okay with all that. Just send me my diploma, right? But that when I realized that experience is what put the biggest smile on their face. Like, oh, all them hard nights, right? All that hard work, right? Them moving me to Gehenna for better opportunities, right? I remember my pops, he used to help me with homework, him helping me out, right? All that, they're like, all that is worth it. Like, nice. Look, my son made it, right?
My son made it.
And then, like, you know how people idolize, like, you know, especially my age, like rappers? Rappers always talk about, yo, I had nothing and now look at me, right?
Yeah.
Think about our Somali, like, parents. They came to America with not nothing, but literally basically nothing. They didn't know English, right? They didn't have the resources they have now, right?
Yep.
They are basically the rappers we idolize. They turn nothing into something.
Yep.
And I feel like someone, for me, that grew up here, like the first generation, right? My job is to turn that something into something more.
Absolutely.
So that's what I see it as. And the whole degree aspect, I feel more for my parents' aspect, because that's going to put the biggest smile and the biggest, maybe ease their pressure. Like, yo, I don't got to worry about my son Rahim. He's good now, right? Good now. I did my job as a parent. Let me just exit out and go travel the world. Do whatever you got to do. But they feel like they made it as a parent, and them being happy makes me truly happy.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
If you want to say thank you to them, what would you say?
Oh, man, I always say thank you to my parents.
Okay.
Thank you, 𝐻𝐻. You know, I truly love you. Everything you've done, I have noticed. Even the moves you made in silence, I have truly and utterly noticed. And I appreciate everything you've done from the bottom of my heart. Alhamdulillah, I got the best parents on the planet.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you, man.
All right, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe and watch more of his other videos. Innovation Somalia. Abdul is a very nice guy, very intelligent guy. Stay tuned.
We'll leave it at that. Thank you.
No problem.